All right.
Wait, go forward one more. This is it. There we go.
All right.
This feels like an old Nickelodeon show.
Right. This reminds me of Lowrider.
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But just in case I didn't get the mix right, I'm going to turn it off. Welcome back to the Isaac Abrams Show, everybody. I am your host, Isaac Abrams, coming to us for the very first time. Jay Light, fresh off of his brand new special, My Wife Hates These Jokes, available right now on YouTube on the Roast Battle channel. Jay, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Isaac.
Tell us where we can find you on the internet.
I am at DietJ, DietJay, on all social media, and I am at Wrong Game Show on all social media for my game show. Look at that.
Because he has a game show.
And look at that. Come check out the game show.
He's got a game show. He's a writer on television.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to love this episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Jay Light.
Isaac Abrams.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Well,
All things considered.
I think you're supposed to say, I'm doing well no matter what, because it's supposed to forecast that into the universe. So even if you're not doing well, you say, I'm doing well.
I don't abide by that.
I don't either.
I prefer to just go with what's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And that is fine.
LA's on fire.
LA's on fire.
Yeah.
We're getting closed in. It's like the trash compactor scene in Star Wars, but fire.
It's a trash fire.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're okay.
For now.
We're actually recording this from a fireproof bunker, so we're set. Underwater.
An underwater fireproof bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where the aliens live.
Yes.
Because we're on a Tic Tac spaceship.
Bingo.
And
we've been the ones launching the drones all along.
you know what's funny? And it's not funny, haha funny, but there's a drone company here in Los Angeles called Beverly Hills Aerials. They're the premier drone team if you want them on movies or whatever.
With a name like Beverly Hills, how could it not be?
And they moved to Silver Lake a couple years ago, but so they just kept the name.
These liars.
But they have been in New Jersey for the last 2 months.
Okay.
Filming Happy Gilmore 2.
Sure.
And the reports of the drones didn't start till they got there.
Oh, so this is all Happy Madison.
This is all. It's it would be so funny if it turns out that that whole production company is just in charge of the drone thing.
I actually do feel like that would be a good plot point to have in Happy Gilmore 2, is that drones do come in and mess up Happy Gilmore's game.
Yeah.
Guy, in the modern world, you can't be golfing with drones flying about. And then you get to see Adam Sandler wail on a drone with a 5-iron.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Or he's like, get out of my way, and he hits it on purpose.
Yes.
He's got the ability to just target drone strikes with a golf ball.
That's good.
That is good. Do you think Happy Gilmore 2 is gonna be good?
I hope so. I had actually never seen the original Happy Gilmore until last summer.
You saved it at until, because I was like, man, still, you got to watch it today.
I watched it. It was one of those movies that I grew up super sheltered. I was not allowed to watch a lot of stuff.
Me too.
And I missed a lot of Adam Sandler movies. I think the first one I ever saw was 50 First Dates.
Okay. That's a very acceptable movie to watch.
Yeah. My girlfriend in high school was a big fan of 50 First Dates. And so am I. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's well made. But I finally caught up on Happy Gilmore last year, and man, that's a funny movie. It holds up.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that hopefully they'll be able to capture some of that same irreverent energy and move it right along into Happy Gilmore 2.
I mean, from everything that I've read, they did a good job on the script. I didn't read the script, but they weren't going to make it until they could make it right.
Of course.
Which is, Adam Sandler's got a standard of quality, much like Quentin Tarantino, except Sandler's funny
and doesn't care about having a foot shot every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, is that a Tarantino thing?
You didn't know this?
This is like vague memories.
The classic rumor about Quentin Tarantino sleeping in a foot-shaped bed.
Oh,
Tarantino loves feet. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is full of barefoot shots.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
That would be weird to have a fetish and then just like overtly just put it on for the public and be like, I like feet, guys.
And it's funny because I don't think he's ever openly admitted to liking feet, but everybody sees his movies and is like, this guy likes feet. I have this this game that we do on the game show sometimes on Wrong.
Tell everybody about that. Like, give everybody the backstory of the game show.
So we got this game show I do here in LA and out on the road. Check it out. It's called Wrong, a fucked up game show.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a game show where the point is to be wrong, and we have contestants who are comedians who we basically take and put in really uncomfortable situations, and they got to be funny to get their way out of it. We go through their old social media. We put them in some places where they got to answer some tough questions that we ask them about, like their past and things we dug up on them. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
And then we play games. We have this one game that we do called Whose Foot Is It Anyway? We've done it a couple times. We go to WikiFeet,
Yeah.
which I don't know how much of the internet you have scoured in
I'm
your
very
lifetime.
familiar with WikiFeet.
Okay.
Not because I'm a fan.
But because you have to be aware of it at some point.
It kind of launched this show on the internet.
Really?
Two of my different guests, one guest during season 1 talked about her feet and how she got on, and then that clipped.
Okay.
And WikiFeet got a hold of it. And then Jade Catapreta showed her bare feet on my show.
I mean, that's catnip.
And it got like 50,000 views.
Yeah. The feet people love it. And here's the thing that we have talked about, because we show basically in that game, we go on WikiFeet, we show you comments, and we make them guess whose foot we're showing based on the comments. We've had all, Marjorie Taylor Greene's feet. She was referred to in the comments as good old Sporkfoot, which is one of my favorite moments of the show. Sporkfoot Marjorie Taylor Greene. But we have realized that like showing bare feet on camera or on screen to somebody who is a foot fetishist is basically like the equivalent of showing, boobs or
whatever else you're into. Yeah.
Just raw, but it's a foot.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little bit more benign, but it's also like I can just imagine somebody just like getting the weird sweaty anime face thing where they're like, oh, I can't. There's a foot here right now, and you can tell there's people in the audience who I'm like, you probably have a little bit of a foot thing you're not even willing to admit, just by looking at their reactions when they see that we have bare feet.
Has that ever happened to one of the comics?
No.
So you've never seen the weird sweat from like somebody on stage going like, oh.
The first time we did the game, it was all comics who were on WikiFeet.
Oh, that's
which
funny.
was fun.
Yeah.
Because two of them they had official accounts on WikiFeet of their feet,
Mm-hmm.
and then one, his wife had a WikiFeet page, but his feet were on there, just sort of by happenstance.
Right. So like on Wikipedia, it would be like, Isaac Abrams and then spouse, whatever, and so that's the spouse section and then their feet.
Exactly. Okay. And they it's like citations needed on further information about this person, but we're gonna show their wife's feet. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, so they have guys and girls' feet on WikiFeet. I thought it was just girls' feet.
Well, there's a WikiFeet men section. WikiFeet men's a whole other website.
Wow.
WikiFeet, just general WikiFeet, is women only, and I think that's a sign of progress.
It is, because men really have been kind of in the shadows for too long,
Yeah.
And they've had socks on for too long.
Yeah.
Tell us about your special.
Special is called My Wife Hates These Jokes. It's out on YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
Shot it at the Dallas Comedy Club. My, I guess you could call it my hometown club.
Yeah. You could call it whatever you want.
You could.
It's America.
Well, because here's the thing, because like I grew up in Dallas, or in between Dallas and Fort Worth, but I didn't really do a lot of comedy there ever, because I started proper in North Carolina.
No way.
College out there, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that I'm from North Carolina?
No, I didn't know that. Where in North Carolina are you from?
That's right. I'm from Raleigh.
Oh,
I have it stamped on me.
Good Nights.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The time when I was still there, they still called it Charlie Good Nights.
When did you go to state?
No, I went to Elon University.
I know exactly where Elon University is.
Burlington, baby.
Wow.
I started in college. My first open mic I ever did was there used to be this bar on campus that was, at the time, it was called Lighthouse Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an open mic that was almost entirely musicians. And then I signed up to do comedy. I did like 10 minutes of jokes. And it went well enough that I was like, I got it. I'm in.
Yeah.
I
did not have 10 minutes, or you just stand up there for 10 minutes?
No, I had 10. I was literally like reading through everything in my notebook. So I think I probably did all of my material that I had. But I then, I did it a little bit more after that. I was still like terrified of doing comedy, and I didn't have I had a lot of other, I was like freshman year, a lot of shit going on, right? Sophomore year, a lot of shit going on. But I'm starting to learn more about like where is the open mics here in North Carolina. Because I think those first 2 years I would guess maybe like 10 open mics and shows total.
It got to be hard to find in Burlington.
They don't really exist.
Yeah.
Like the open mic at the bar was like, I think the only one they did that year. There was a place on campus. There was this group. They had all these things called learning communities, and they had the arts and letters learning community, which is like all the English majors. And they had a house.
Shouldn't you know your letters by the time you get to college, though?
You'd think that.
That's an uneducated joke. I'm sorry.
They had, but they had a monthly open mic that I found out about eventually. So by the time I started like actually giving a shit and doing more comedy and being like, oh, I found enough open mics that I can like sort of make this a thing where I can at least go up like once a week.
Yeah.
And work on stuff. That was one of the places where I would go. And it was like a bunch of kids playing like acoustic guitar covers of stuff and reading their poems. And then I would come in and do like 10 minutes of jokes. And
would anybody else do comedy?
No, just me.
And then how many songs did the musicians get? Is that how they determined you got 10 minutes? They got to do 3 songs?
Yeah, they got to do 3 songs.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, you can do like 10 minutes.
Which is nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I started, once I moved beyond just like whatever was on campus, that's when I was going to like the Idiot Box in Greensboro. There was this place called DSI in Chapel Hill at the time. There were a couple of other open mics. There was Jack Spratt had an open mic. I did a couple's, like the open mic at Goodnights a little bit, a couple times.
Far. So what
it's not that. It's like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It's not that bad.
From Elon?
Yeah.
That's got to be at least an hour, right?
No.
Really?
45. I'm cruising. Takes 45 to get to RDU.
Yeah, that's true.
All
these places that you listed are pretty far from.
Yeah, I had to. It was like an hour and a half round trip.
Yeah.
In order to go do comedy.
Yeah.
For anything in the Triangle. And Greensboro, even Greensboro, it's still like 20, 30 minutes in, 20, 30 minutes back.
Yeah.
So if I was doing it, I had to really give a shit. Yeah. To some degree. At least be like, I'm going to load up my car and just be like, hanging out for a couple hours.
It's kind of a road trip. Like when I was in a band, I was the only one that lived in the city we rehearsed in. Everyone else drove an hour and a half to band practice 3 times a week.
God.
It was nuts.
Wild. But yeah, so I started in North Carolina.
And then you graduate. Where do you go? Do you go back to Dallas after you graduate?
I basically came straight to LA. I had a couple odd jobs that summer. I was a camp counselor in Tennessee. I worked at Bonnaroo on a food truck.
Nice.
I did those 2 jobs basically back to back, but they were both in Tennessee. So like I drove to Tennessee for Bonnaroo and then drove all the way back to Dallas, and then drove out to Tennessee again for the camp, and then drove all the way back to Dallas, and then I turned 22, and then I drove to LA like 2 days after that. So got to LA on like August 18th of 2022. Or not 2012, excuse me.
I was like, you look great.
Thank
for
you.
26 years
Thank
old.
you so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2012, August, 18th or 19th, 2012, and then I have been here ever since. Because I was in film school, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll figure out like PA gigs or something. And then I wound up working at comedy clubs instead. And then, off to the races after that. Yeah.
Did you ever do any film work?
I worked, my first job I ever had here, I was a PA on a very indie feature. I was doing like office PA stuff and then locations PA stuff, and then I was our driver for our lead. And immediately after that, I got hired at Flappers to replace our mutual friend Drew Lynch.
Because he had an accident.
He had an accident, but he was still working there, and then he started to do. That's when he started to work the road, and he was doing the college circuit.
Yeah.
And so he was getting so busy that they were like, "We need somebody new to come in and work at the box office." And I did the audition at the club, and the booker was like, "Hey, you're funny. Also, you seem responsible. Do you want to work here?" And then I wound up working at the box office there for like a year and a half.
Did you end up getting extra spots for being an employee there?
Funny story. So I got a couple spots here and there, not really a ton. It's not like most comedy clubs, particularly like the Comedy Store where I worked for years. Mm-hmm. They're known for having a door guy system, right? The Improv does that more now, like Mothership does that. A lot of clubs, I think, are starting to go like, oh yeah, the door guy system is a way to have that's your development comics. Flappers was not really like that.
No.
If I was doing a spot, I would occasionally get a spot on a show, but I would have to like clock out to do the show and then clock back in for like the 5 to 10 minute spot that I was going to be getting.
That's kind of lame.
And then we also had every night they would have an open mic at the bar, and
every night.
This was yeah.
Because they got 3 rooms over there. They have the big room.
They have the big room. Well, now they have the big room, the Yoo-Hoo room, and the bar is more, I think, closed off. I think they have more of a proper like entrance. Back then, it was just literally a curtain that you walked through, and all of a sudden there's a bar. But I would often show up because I wound up being the box office manager. And so my work day, I would get there at like 4 o'clock. I would be on the clock until like 11 p.m. And I would do the open mic pretty much every night because I was like, at least I'm going to get one spot in today. Because this is before the era where we're in now in LA, where it's like, oh, you can sign up to do an open mic at like noon or 11 a.m. on some days if you want to.
Pay 5 for 5 or 10 for 10. Yeah.
And so I was like showing up. I'm not going to get to go on stage unless I do this open mic at night. And they had a rotating group of hosts, and the hosts would always work employees in, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But then
that should be mandated from the club. It shouldn't have to come from the host.
Well, that's the crazy thing is it wasn't mandated by the club. And then I'm not going to name names, but the person who at the club, there was a couple people at the club who like I don't think understood some level of this. Mm-hmm. One of those people said, "Hey, we're not going to give employees special treatment at the open mic." And all the employees who are comics were like, "What are you talking about? If you don't do this for us, we will quit."
There's no other reason to work at that club.
There's no other reason to work at the club. And so we all were like, "You got to fucking chill." And then they backed off and we got our work-ins back. But then they made it an official system like, you get this X amount of work-ins per mic, whatever. I stopped working there shortly after the kerfuffle happened, so it didn't even really affect me that much.
So you were like, I'm out. Like, it wasn't because of that.
No, there were other reasons. Like, I had gotten to the point where I was starting to not like the hours. I was like, I would like to be able to at least have a little bit more time with my schedule. There were some workplace dynamic stuff that I was not on board with. But I had gotten out of there, and it was weird timing because this group of guys who were store comics were starting to come to the open mic, and we were becoming friends. And one of them was like, "Hey, there are a couple door guy openings at the Comedy Store. If you're interested, you should audition. I think you'd be good at the door." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." Because I loved the Comedy Store at that point, even though I'd never known anything about it until I moved to LA.
Were you going there and hanging out when you weren't working?
Yeah, I was going and hanging out pretty much every Monday and every Tuesday at that point too, because Roast Battle was just getting started. So I was there those 2 days a week, and then I went and hung out. I literally got hired by the club to be a door guy, they called me the day after I put my 2 weeks in at Flappers, just out of serendipity. Like, I hadn't even planned on, like, oh, this store is going to be the thing that I have to do. I was like, I'm going to try and line up some PA work. And I had some, like, random PA gigs that I went and did in between, but it just worked out. Just, that's the universe looking out for me.
That is. And so then you got a door guy spot.
Yes, and I was a door guy at the store for just shy of 5 years.
And why? This is the most fascinating thing to me. I've had, like, I don't know, 12, 15 door guys on the show.
Okay.
What made you stop?
I got writing jobs.
Oh.
And the hours were not conducive to me.
Like writing on
both.
TV?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you WGA?
No. I do a lot of reality and variety work, and most of those shows are not Guild.
Yeah.
There's only a couple that I can even think of that are.
But you're now, like, solidly in that pool of people that, like, you found your niche in writing.
Yeah. And when I'm on a job, the one job that I have the most consistently is a job that I know I'm going to be employed for, like, usually 2.5, 3 months. Mm-hmm. So that's blocked off that chunk of time. And I usually will wind up with...
Every year.
Yeah. And I will usually try and take on, in total, like 2 or 3 jobs a year, because I know that most of them, at a minimum, are going to be a month long. The majority of them are closer to like a month and a half, 2 months. And so the final year that I worked at the store, I was doing both. I was writing and working the door. And the hour shift was insane.
Right.
I just could not. Once I got my last job finished, I was like, I can't even believe that I just did both of this. I was working as a writer's assistant on historical roasts on Netflix, and the hours for that were so insane. And then I would still have to go in and do store shifts as a door guy. There were some nights where I was like, I have to cancel last minute just because I'm stuck on set. There were a couple days where I worked like a 20, 22-hour day on the Netflix show. Yeah. And then had to be like, oops, sorry, I can't come into my store shift tonight because I'm still dealing with scripts on set. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. But then at that point, once I got the final writing job, then I was like, you know what? This is the time. And even then, I was still like, oh, I don't know. What should I do? And I called a couple friends of mine who had done the door guy to not door guy pipeline. I asked them what they thought, and they were like, yeah, you definitely should quit. Right. For sure you should quit. One of my best friends, you know Jerron Horton? No. He was one of my best door guy friends, great comic, super funny, a successful television writer now. And I remember he had quit a couple years before I did. And I was talking to him. He was one of the first people I called, and I was like weighing the decision. And he was like, dude, you have an actual job lined up. When I quit, I had nothing lined up, and I just hoped that it would work out, and it did. Mm-hmm. If you got nothing, if you got something going on, you should definitely quit. Right. So I was like, okay.
Because the two most positive outcomes of becoming a door guy is that you either become a working comedian or you get a writing job. Yeah. Those are the 1 and 2. Like, that's the ideal scenario from working at the store, right?
I think so, because you are basically... I looked at the store as basically like being in grad school. Mm-hmm. And you have to recognize that you're trying to, as a door guy, trying to establish yourself to have a career in the comedy industry specifically. Like, there are former door guys, I would say, if we're going to throw a third thing on there are former door guys who have gone on to be like executives at networks, studios. Sure. Yeah. But that is something also that, like, working at that club and being around funny people trains you to do better, is to how to interact with that kind of talent a little bit better and a little bit differently.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a door guy at the store and you're seeing, the most famous comedic celebrities on the planet every night, then you're not going to freak out when you're walking down the halls of Netflix and you're like, there's Bill Burr and there's Louis C.K. Yeah, I can see how that would be beneficial. Mm-hmm. Huh.
And hopefully you develop a good sense of taste working at the club.
From being exposed to higher levels of good comedy.
Exactly. And not just higher levels, I think also such a variety of styles. Because, people, I think, generally think of club comedy as like a certain way. And I do think largely that is the case. Like, whatever your opinion of club comedy is, it's not inaccurate, I would say, at a baseline scale.
Well, I don't have one because that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that people think about club comedy a certain way.
I think if you imagine, like, if I had said, okay, picture a club comedian versus like an alt comedian, do you have two different sort of visions in your head of like what that would be like, of what those kind of people are?
No faces popped into my head.
Okay.
But I pictured a club, and then I pictured somebody's living room. Like, that was it.
Great.
But I couldn't picture a specific alt comedian or a specific club comedian.
It's totally fine. I think that is enough of a distinction to go like, oh, well, certain kind of person is going to be like a professional working in a club versus a certain kind of person is going to be a professional, or maybe, like a semi-professional who's like also has writing work or whatever, whose primary place where they're performing is in like someone's living room. I think that the beauty of what comics at the store do is that they, I think, are much easier at going sort of between the worlds of what you would believe is like, well, only a club comic or only an alt comic. Like, I'm much more likely to see some of these comics who work at the store also dropping in to do like a bar show here and there. Like one of my favorite, I love Bill Burr, and Bill Burr dropped in. Do you remember, were you around comedy much when the Hooters show was happening on Hollywood Boulevard?
No, but I was, during Pandy, I went to the Big Wang show in North Hollywood.
Big Wangs. Shout out Big Wangs. So there was a great show that was at the Hooters on Hollywood Boulevard for years.
This is pre-Pandy.
Pre-Pandy.
Yeah.
And the guy who ran it, the Hooters I'm talking about, the manager there, I think the people who were running the show there had management from Hooters be super on board. They basically like transformed. It was a 2-story Hooters.
Right.
So really balling out.
Right there on the Hollywood
right there
Walk
on
of
Hollywood
Fame.
Walk of Fame, yeah. And the second floor was never busy. And so they basically just turned it into a comedy club.
Right.
And it was a well-oiled machine. They had Barkers, they had great comics coming out, they had open mic after the main show, full packed houses. And then new management comes into the Hooters, and the guy who's running it is like, I hate that they're doing comedy upstairs. You guys, this is your last week. And the last week that they did it, Bill Burr dropped in to do a set. And then the guys who ran the show were like, great, we're out. See ya, you missed it. You missed your shot, guys.
Yeah.
But that's like, I think that kind of comic is indicative of like, this is what a store comic to me is somebody who can go between doing a place where you're like, oh, I'm going to see a certain kind of comedy, and also being able to like cross over between what you wouldn't necessarily expect from that kind of a performer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my lines are kind of blurred between like alt and club, because I got most of my start like right before Pandy, and then Pandy hit, and I grabbed my camera and I was shooting everything, and everything was an alt show.
Yeah.
Because all the clubs were closed.
Exactly.
So to me, it was like Jam in the Van and Big Wangs and Dan Poshton's backyard.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is what we have to do because we can't be at the clubs. And then the clubs opened back up, and I just walked in there like that was okay.
Right.
And I was getting kicked out of I can't tell you how many times Rita's kicked me out of the Improv before I got hired there.
That's funny.
And I just thought you could just go take pictures wherever you wanted to. So like that, I think that's why my sense of alt and not alt, like, because I got into comedy October 2019.
Oh yeah. So I could see why your lines would get blurred.
Yeah, I mean, I just decided I wanted to do comedy. I rented the Comedy Dojo off of
Sunset. Yeah.
And I produced my first show. I knew like 8 or 9 comics because I had started the podcast before I had done an open mic.
Okay.
So I called 8 or 9 people that had been on the show, paid them $50 a piece. Didn't know if that was high or low for paying comics.
That is good pay.
I rented the whole room, so the show was free.
Nice.
And then I stocked the bar. So drinks were, if you ordered a specific drink, that was free. It was my birthday.
Great. Look at you.
I spent It was my 40th birthday. I spent $500.
Nice.
And everybody had a great time. And I was like, I'm going to be a comedian. I went up and I ate absolute shit.
How much time did you do?
I tried to do 10 off top, and then 3 minutes in, I bailed. And I just hosted the rest of the night.
There you go.
And then at the end, I got up there because I'd had a couple drinks.
Uh-huh.
And I just sat on the stool in my suit. All my friends were there. And I just started telling stories. And those killed.
Sure.
I didn't tape it. I don't know what stories I told. I don't know how I told them. I don't know the order I told them in. I can't replicate that night. But the first night that I did comedy was the best night of my life.
There you go. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Why else would you got the bug otherwise? Then you're chasing it.
And then a year later, I'm on the road with Tim Dillon. A year after that, I did a year with Theo Vaughn on a bus. And then the last 2 years, I've been with Drew Lynch.
Nice.
So I went from like, I don't know what comedy is, to throwing my own show, to being a videographer for the big dudes.
Yeah.
And then some of them let me do time.
There you go. And now you know what comedy is.
You
got a better idea of it, at least.
I have an idea of what it's like to do the same 10 minutes 150 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know what comedy is yet. I don't know if I know what my voice is yet. But that's the journey of this show. It's me documenting, different stages of my comedy career and interviewing different comedians and slowly trying to make this show funnier. Because I feel like
here and there,
I feel like this show has a reputation for being more interview based, more Mark Maron, less zany, less Jeremiah Watkins, more like what the fuck, like
sure. Mark Maron, famously not a zany human being,
not known for zane,
not known for zaniness,
zaneless,
yeah, pretty zane-phobic, I would say,
yeah, anti-zane,
anti-zanetic,
yeah. So you got here. You're working at the store.
Mm-hmm.
You get a writing job. At some point, you meet a young man or woman because you're married.
A woman.
A woman. There you go. So you're straight.
Yeah.
You're
against
straight.
all odds.
I mean, if I had to guess, if you had only told me up to Elon, I would have gone.
Could have gone. They got a good musical theater program.
They do. They do. I played Elon a lot as a musician.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where at? What place?
You know what? It's been 25 years. So, I mean, we're talking when I was 20, 21, 22. I toured with a 80s cover band.
Okay.
And we played Elon a couple times. The singer met the softball team.
Okay.
So, and then he ended up living with me because, singers don't have any money.
Sure.
So we would just go there socially on weekends that we were off. And we would stay with...
At the softball house.
Yes. As he was dating one of the softball ladies.
Nice.
So I have some very fond memories of being very drunk at Elon.
It's a good place to get drunk. Did you ever do Festivus?
Mm-mm.
That was their big to-do party.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just, everybody's drunk in a field.
That's North Carolina, right?
Yeah. But there's mud pits, and they got, they do a pig picking. It's a good time.
Man, I miss North Carolina barbecue.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I will ride or die for Texas barbecue all day, but I do miss a good, real nice pulled pork, really good, like a vinegary sauce done right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat that.
So when you claim Dallas as your home club, where's the time frame that you spent in the Dallas clubs?
The 0. I mean, I would go there in between semesters of school, but really, I just consider it. I would only call it my home because it's hometown, you know. And I remember when I was prepping this special, I was like, or originally it was just going to be an album, but I was like, I'd like to do a hometown show. I got a lot of friends who are still in the area who do not get a chance to see me do comedy that often. Mm-hmm. So why not? Now's the time.
Let's circle back to the special because I feel like we started talking about it.
And then we got caught up in the other story stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the special's out.
Yes.
And it's on the Roast Battle channel.
Yes.
And I'm sure everybody wants to know how you pulled that off.
Well,
I wanted to know how you pulled that off. You just told me before we started recording.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell that story?
Sure. I mean, I was involved with Roast Battle for a very long time. Mm-hmm. Here in LA, that was one of the things that helped get me into the store as a door guy. I worked the room. I was running the live stream. We had this thing on Periscope where it was literally just my janky ass phone and this horrible gimbal that I found on Amazon that wasn't even a real gimbal. It was like the worst possible Steadicam. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were shooting it, and
you're streaming right from your phone,
right from my phone,
on
right
the
on
internet
Periscope.
at the store,
yeah,
in the belly room,
off of my data.
You can't get a signal up there. That's insane.
I had good. It was good enough.
Wow.
There's a lot of, if you go back and watch the old videos of that, which there are some on YouTube, there's a lot of like, you shot this on a potato kind of comments, you know. But I helped, do that for a while, and I was battling. I started roast battling, and then I was doing some booking for them. I was helping book the battles, and then I helped book and produce the whole show. And then I left when I started getting writing work. At the same time, I quit being a door guy. Mm-hmm. And then post the last big thing I did for them was right when COVID started and lockdown started. My job at the time was put on hiatus, and so I had all this free time on my hands. And Roast Battle reached out to me, Brian Moses, the point guard of Roast Battle, as he puts it. He reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, we want to do live stream roast battles of some kind, like during the lockdown period, since we don't know how long it'll be until we can get back into the store. Do you have any ideas on how to do that?" And I was like, I could probably figure something out. I've produced a little bit at this point. I know how to be on a set and like run something. And so I was helping out with that, and then I launched the YouTube channel and all of the social media, which Roast Battle really did not have a big social media presence.
That's surprising.
Moses wanted it to be underground for years, which I think a lot of people were very on board with, because there was another big roast operation that was affiliated with us out of New York, the Roast Masters, and we heard stories of guys who were doing Roast Masters who were like up for writing jobs, and then people saw the clips that they put out from Roast Masters, and their like job offers got rescinded.
That's crazy.
Because you're just saying like the most horrible shit, and out of context, everyone's like, "You're capable of saying." I had a girl I was dating one time who like, we weren't like crazy serious, but we were like, it was a long distance thing. We were starting to like potentially be like, "Oh, what are we doing?" And she basically decided to stop talking to me because she saw me do a roast battle. And
online or in real life?
Online. She had come to visit, and we went to the show, and she like had a great time in person. And then I sent her a battle that I had done like 2 weeks later, and she was like, "I can't believe you would say stuff like this. What if you turn that against me?" And I'm like, "No, you don't. Whatever."
Well,
anyway.
There's a lot more going on there than just her not liking your comedy.
Yes.
Her making it about herself.
There's a whole lot of stuff going on. It is what it is. Yeah. Many layers of to that emotional onion on both of our parts.
Yeah.
But so when the past couple months rather, I got brought back into the fold to help do roast battle stuff, and when I'd shot my special, I was just planning on self-releasing it. I have a label that I'm doing the audio release with in February, but I was just going to self-release it on my YouTube channel. And they asked, I think because I was part of the fold at Roast Battle for so long, they're like, "Hey, do you want to release the special with us on our YouTube channel?" And I was like, "You guys got 100,000 subscribers. Of course, it's kind of a no-brainer. That would be huge for me if you guys are on board with it."
Yeah.
And then we released it there, and it's doing great. And I'm very happy with the response to it. My wife hates these jokes, but people seem to like it.
Yeah.
Except for a couple people. But you know what? That's fine.
Well, the people that don't like it are the best because they leave comments.
Yeah.
And then you can go back and forth with them.
Oh, man.
Because every comment's worth another 100 views.
Yeah, for sure.
Least. Every like's worth another 10 views.
Yeah. You just followed down the rabbit hole with these people.
Yeah. I think the launch went fantastic.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I was there live watching you.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
I feel really good about the trajectory that it is on, and I'm excited because it seems like now the Roast Battle channel will be in a better position to release other specials from people within the Roast Battle verse.
Right.
So hopefully I can be the beacon for whatever is possible.
What would be really great is if the winner of a season got a Roast Battle sponsored special.
That's what I think is something that's like definitely on the table. I don't want to say for sure it's going to happen, but it's stuff that has been talked about. It's like, oh yeah, this is possible. You know, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, there's a lot more we could talk about off camera.
Yeah,
business wise.
Sure.
But I'm going to try one of my new segments on you and just see what happens.
Hit me with the segment.
And let's just see what we come up with. So off camera yesterday, I texted you about your least favorite song.
Yes.
And you sent it to me. And then I took the words out of it because I was going to have us rewrite it to see if we could make it a song that you actually like.
Okay.
From the opposite perspective.
Uh-huh.
The song that you gave me was Jesus Take the Wheel.
Horrible song.
Horrible song. I started to work it a little bit last night. And the obvious opposite of Jesus Take the Wheel is Lucifer Take the Square. Or Lucifer Leave the Square.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if that's going to clip great or if like that's going to leave us in the best light of us, you and I just singing about Lucifer. So we're going to skip that segment.
We're going to tap into an audience that I don't think, are prepared to handle if we talk about Lucifer and Satan on the podcast.
I can handle the Satanists because they're some of the most logical people on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
They just want equality. But some of my people affiliated with my upbringing, I came up very Christian. Some of the people that still check in on me get real offended when I do anything that's not hyper Christian. So.
Oh, yeah. I will say, I did a joke. There's a joke on the special, which you saw, about heaven being full, which was one of my favorite jokes to work on. But it was weird, first of all, doing it in front of a bunch of people who like knew me when I was religious. Because then I'm like, well, we'll see how this works. But also working out that material here in LA, where everybody sees me do a joke that's talking about having read the Bible, and they're like, is he religious? What's going on with this guy? Anyway, it's neither here nor there.
The dichotomy's got to be pretty interesting because you worked it out here where if you're religious, people kind of, their butthole puckers up, and then you performed it in front of people who know you're religious or were religious.
No, there was, yeah.
And then their buttholes are puckering up. So it's just butthole pucker.
Damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Yeah.
Buttholes are puckered either way.
That's right.
But I'm just trying to get you to loosen them.
Well, but not too loose.
No.
Don't want to have an accident.
Well, maybe. I mean, that's a good press.
It's true. The second segment that's new this season is I got this riddle book here, which I think is, to me, it's very funny.
Difficult riddles for smart kids.
Yes, you seem like a smart kid. So
boy.
If you would just go ahead and pick a number 1 through 300.
145.
145.
Almost right in the middle, but not quite.
Well, none of them have been done yet. So here's a riddle from the Difficult Riddles for Smart Kids book.
Let me absorb this riddle.
I'm going to write J Light next to 145.
Nice.
I am a cold man without a soul. If there is warmth in me, it slowly will kill me. What am I?
This is difficult?
This
is a snowman.
Let's find out.
It's got to be a snowman.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Do you want a backup answer?
Read it one more time. I am a cold man without a soul.
Oh, no, you got it right away. Yeah.
Of course.
You are a smart guy. I wouldn't have got that.
What would you have guessed?
I don't know. When I think of a cold man without a soul, I just picture like a log cabin in Alaska, somebody like smoking some weed or something. If there is warmth in me, I mean, I guess it is a snowman.
It's pretty obvious, I think, that it's a snowman.
Okay. Well, this segment's going very well. Well, we tried it.
You got to get the next book. You got to get easy riddles for dumb kids.
Do they make that?
Now that is that's a very dumb kid response.
All right. Well, that was that.
How much mileage did you think you were going to? You thought you were going to stump me.
I tried one yesterday and I couldn't get it. I also wasn't going to get that one. I think the question should now be read by the guest to me.
Well, let me try it out.
Okay.
Okay, give me a number.
89.
Okay. Give me this pen. I'm going to write Isaac Abrams next to this one.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This is the dumb guy answering the smart kid riddle.
Okay, now this one does seem actually much more difficult. I don't have eyes, but once I did see. Once I had thought, but am now white and empty. What am I? This is way more difficult.
I mean, I want to say a bucket with a hole in it because that's always the answer to every riddle. But a recycled newspaper.
Okay, now where are the eyes on the newspaper?
In the words.
Clever. Unfortunately, the correct answer is a skull.
That's pretty morbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? Smart kids.
Smart kid would get that.
They understand death.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you can talk to a smart child about skulls.
Yes. But if you talk to me as a child about skulls, I would cry because I would fear death.
Yeah. Well, don't even bring up a dinosaur skull because those are just tricks left by God to test our faith.
Whew. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. All right. One thing that we always have fun doing on the road is Mad Libs. Do you remember Mad Libs?
Yeah.
From being a kid?
This is the biggest Mad Lib notepad I've ever seen. I didn't know they had one this big.
It's already filled in.
All of them? You can't have gone through all those. That's 50 years of Mad Libs right there.
I hope it's not.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So now, I'm not going to tell you the title.
Okay.
Are you supposed to tell you the title?
Not until the end.
Okay. Let's. Do you know how Mad Libs work?
Yeah.
Okay. Do
you
know?
You say a word, you do the thing,
right,
and then you read it, and it's real. It's
zany.
wacky.
It's wacky and zany. What's an adjective that you got on top of your head?
Slippery.
And I'll cut quick through this. All right. This one is entitled Bears.
Okay.
If you go to some slippery place like Yellowstone National Fire, you must know how to deal with wild animals such as bears and wolves and chopsticks.
Dangerous.
The most important of these is the bear. There are 3 kinds of bears at Yellowstone: the grizzly bear, the smooth bear, and the coarse bear.
Oh, boy.
Bears spend most of their time playing or chewing.
Oh, yeah.
They look very absurd, but if you make them wooden, they might bite your truck. Bears will come up to your car and beg for oysters. They will stand on their hind legs and clap their butt cheeks.
Just twerking for those oysters.
Twerking bears.
These horny bears.
Butt cheeks is always funny. Clap their butt cheeks together and pretend to be foot-shaped. But do not get out of your wienermobile or offer the bears cantaloupe or pig feet. The same advice often applies to other wild creatures, such as mice and park rangers. Remember all these rules, and you will spend your vacation swiftly and not get eaten by a juice.
You can't tell me that as much fun as it would be to drive the Wienermobile, it's definitely not a good idea to drive it anywhere where there's actual wild animals. Because if you do that and a bear comes up and tries to eat your truck, that's on you.
Yeah.
You're driving an edible object.
That's true. Especially if there's wieners in it.
Yeah.
But if there's no, like if it's not a serviceable wiener truck, then it doesn't have the scent of a wiener.
Same thing with the Pope Mobile, right?
Yeah.
You're driving a Pope Mobile, you're basically just showing up, oh, you got a Pope in there. That's you're serving it to him on a silver platter.
But is that like Air Force One? Like any vehicle the president is in becomes number one? And is the Pope Mobile unless the Pope is in it?
If a Pope falls in the forest,
I was going to say that.
Does he have to Hail Mary?
I don't know. Didn't we just get a new Pope?
No, we got a new movie about a Pope.
Oh, it's close enough.
Close. Yeah. The last Pope we got was almost a decade ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Pope movie, Conclave. Good movie. Great movie, I would say.
Yeah. I never saw it.
It's good. I saw it. There was a guy who fell asleep in the front row, snoring. A hero went up, woke him up. Never seen somebody do that in a movie theater.
Really?
Really nice.
I'm the guy that falls asleep in the movie theater, but not in the front row.
Do you snore?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Big time.
Man.
I snored through most of Black Panther.
I feel like that's an okay movie to snore in, though. Because it's a Marvel movie. It's loud. There's a lot of stuff happening.
There is.
Conclave is like a thriller set at the Vatican.
It's real quiet sometimes.
Real quiet. And there's very intense conversations happening between like Ray Fiennes and Stanley Tucci. And then all of a sudden there's a guy just every once in a while a snore will unleash. And it creates a level of laughter that is not correct for the scene.
But is it distracting? Did it take you out of it?
Yeah. Well, because he would snore, and it was so loud that everybody in the theater was laughing at him snoring.
Yeah.
So somebody went and woke him up, and it was great. It was really nice. But then also, yeah, you can't be. I'm not locked into the movie if there's somebody snoring.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually the culprit, so I have a lot of sympathy for that guy.
Oh, see, I'm the person. I fall asleep in movies, but I don't snore.
Mm.
I got no sleep apnea type issues. But I will lie to you. If you wake me up in the middle of watching a movie, I will say I was not asleep at all. How dare you accuse me of being asleep?
Right. Yeah, if me and my lady are on the couch, I can feel her head turn to see if I'm still awake, and I get so indignant.
Oh, Sam.
I'm like, wow, how dare you check on me?
I hate the idea of being told I'm falling asleep because it's just like it's one of those like wounded animal things. Like I will fall asleep in bed sometimes. I read if I need to fall asleep, and I will sometimes be so sleepy that I'm like my book or my iPad is like falling and hitting me in the face.
Yeah, and waking you up.
My
for
wife,
half
well,
hour.
I'll be sort of like not fully waking up, but sort of just like, oh yeah, it's just, and it hits me in the face. And my wife has to go like, Jay, you're clearly falling asleep. And even then, I'm like, no,
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. You gave yourself a black eye because Infinite Jest smacked you in the face. Okay.
Moby Dick's just taking out your left eye.
Okay, fine.
That's hilarious. Me and my lady sleep in different rooms
Oh, really?
because two things. One, if I sleep in the same bed with another human being, I feel like I'm constantly waking them up by either snoring or farting.
Okay.
And I like to move around a lot. I like to flail around. I like to lay in the middle of the bed.
Okay.
And there was a 2 coming, and I think I said them both at the same time.
Snoring, farting, flailing.
Snoring and farting and turning around and whatever.
I am a sleepwalker, which I don't get very restless while I'm sleeping necessarily. I'm not. I like toss and turn sometimes, but I am much more likely to like in the middle of the night wake up, sort of, and like be talking or walking around, and then my wife will be like, "Hey, get back to bed,"
And you can hear that in your sleep, and you go back to bed.
Yeah. Though sometimes I am woken up by the fact that I'm like all of a sudden I'm in a different room in the house, and then I'm like, oh, everything. I go back to bed. Whatever was just happening in my brain just now, that was a dream.
Do you, when you're on the road, do you ever sleepwalk in hotels and like find yourself locked out of your room?
No, it's never been that bad.
Yeah.
I used to sleepwalk way worse when I was a kid. I would take showers in my sleep.
Wow.
And that would wake me up usually. There's one time,
yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah, the one time the shower didn't wake me up, I got fully ready for school, and then I was like, my parents had a security alarm, and so I was turning off the alarm to go walk to the bus stop. It was like 2 a.m. And my mom comes in. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I have to go catch the bus." And she's like, "It's 2 a.m. And that's when I woke up and I was like, "Oh."
Do you remember what happened while you were sleepwalking?
No, my hair was wet.
Wow.
I will have like, if I'm sleepwalking, I'm coming out of a dream where like something is happening that I need to be doing something for. But sometimes it's even small. Like sometimes I'll be asleep and like I'll hear something in my house. Like there will be times when I'll wake up, quote unquote, wake up, and to go like somebody's knocking at the door or like there's something happening in the living room that I need to go address. And then I'll make it to the way that our house is at. We live in a duplex. Bedrooms at one end, then the kitchen, and then the living room. And I'll make it like to the kitchen or like sometimes to like the door to the kitchen. And then all of a sudden I wake up and I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening? Is something actually happening or did I just imagine it? And then I will orient myself and then go, oh, okay, it was nothing. Back to bed.
And do you have a hard time falling back asleep?
Depends. I have much more of a hard time falling asleep in general than staying asleep. So usually if I'm like up in the middle of the night, if I sleepwalk, it's like a blip and then I go back to bed. But I have a way harder time falling asleep just generally.
Yeah.
I'm amazed I was able to fall asleep at all yesterday because of the fire stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I grew up around camp stuff so much that I was like, okay, it smells like a campfire. I'm fine. We're good.
Yeah. I have insane insomnia
Yeah.
that goes with my sleep apnea.
Oh, I can imagine.
The sleep apnea brings on the insomnia because if I'm trying to sleep and I hear myself snore before I fall asleep, then I have a panic attack about how I'm choking while I'm awake.
Oh, yikes! You CPAP it at all?
I have the Ferrari of CPAPs from an ex-girlfriend that used to work at a CPAP factory. She said, order the cheap one, and I did. I spent $200 on a CPAP, and the $3,000 one showed up because she accidentally put the wrong one in the box.
Oh,
and I got all the facial. I got the full face. I got the nose pillows. I got the full, the Bane mask. I got all the head structures. I got it all, and I can't wear it.
Why?
It's worse.
Really?
Yeah, it feels like 2 air compressors shoving air up your nose, and it just comes right out my mouth. So, like, that when you're going at a high rate of speed. And you stick your head up at the window.
Yeah.
Air goes in your mouth and out your nose, or up your nose, down your mouth.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
I had my grandfather he had a CPAP machine, but I was so young I didn't know what it was. And I remember he used to be a Navy pilot, and so he would say like this is his like flight simulator thing, and that's how I was because he didn't want me to be scared of it. He's in this giant crazy Bane mask, and he's like, no, it's my pilot training stuff. And in my head, I was not even like, you're not a pilot. You've been retired for years.
Right.
Your last job was being a carpet salesman. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is great.
That's what pilots do to go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's sleepy pilots.
It's a good move.
Yeah. It's a good band name, too.
Sleepy Pilots. Mm-hmm. That's your Stone Temple Pilots reboot.
That's right. That's my.
Now that they're all a little older, a little bit more feeble.
Yeah. And there's only 3 out of 4 of them left.
I don't know anything about Stone Temple Pilots other than they're named Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, Scott Weiland died in Burbank a number of years ago.
Huh. To die in Burbank.
To die in Burbank, that sounds like the next novel you're going to write.
I could do it.
Yeah.
I would write a novel about dying in Burbank.
Have you written a novel before? Are you a novel writer?
Nah. Any writing I do, I can't do fiction very well. Like I could do screenplays. I've done like screenplays and TV stuff here and there, but most of my writing, if I'm doing any kind of writing, is all like nonfiction stuff. Like when I was in school, I was a creative writing minor in addition to film, and my favorite 2 classes were poetry and nonfiction, because poems I think are a lot like jokes, and essays are that's just like a form that made sense to me.
That's a perfect segue into the next segment.
Oh, boy.
This is the last segment I'll put you through.
I'm writing poems live for your audience.
Oh, no. It's not a poem, but I can't tell you what it is
until
after you give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things.
6 things?
Yes.
Okay.
So I need a color.
Mauve.
Okay.
M-A-U-V-E.
M-A-U-V-E. I pronounce that mauve. Mauve? Mauve.
It's like, tomato.
I need an animal.
Leopard.
I need a place.
Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where my grandpa's from.
No, you're going to see how funny that is.
Oh, great.
In just a second. Let's see here. I need a size.
Oh. Let's go with extra large.
Okay, we got a size. We got an animal. We got a color. I need a speed.
88 miles per hour.
I need like a descriptive word.
Oh, like a descriptive word for speed.
Any type of speed. It could be slow, fast. Medium.
Let's go with, let's just say quick. How about that? Does that work?
Yeah.
Quick and fast. They're adjacent.
That's right. Size, animal, color, speed, place, and now I need a name.
Of like first and last, or
just one word name.
Iron Man. Does that count?
Well, we might have a bit of a branding issue because.
Oh, sure. Okay, let's go Robert.
Great. Okay, let me put these in order.
Cool. And I will just imagine that it's Iron Man.
Okay, we're going to write a nursery rhyme.
Okay.
Called Robert the Extra Large Mauve Quick Leopard Goes to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Great.
Or it could be a children's book.
I can do either. They're similar to each other.
Let's do a children's book so it doesn't have to rhyme. Or is this dumb? Let me know if this is dumb.
I like it. I also feel like most children's book I can think of, they also rhyme.
Do they?
Yeah, Dr. Seuss
Right.
famously rhymes.
That's true. I mean, he's kind of the OG of famous rhyming children's books. People.
Most of the children's books I can remember reading as a child, except for maybe like The Very Hungry Caterpillar, which did not rhyme.
Yeah,
I don't think it rhymed. It's just a caterpillar getting fat.
it's true.
We'll see. You know what? Let's see what happens. If rhyming happens, it happens.
Rhyming could happen. We need a little bit of a hero's journey. We need a little bit of an arc. So where's Robert going to start?
Well, if he's going to Little Rock, Arkansas,
that's the destination.
he's got to start. If he's starting at a real low point, Texarkana,
Texarkana.
which was just described to me as a liminal space,
Right.
because it's not anywhere particular. It's just between things.
And this is before he was quick. This is pre-quickness.
Yeah.
So
Texarkana, things are moving slow.
he's slow and things are moving slow
Yeah.
in Texarkana. And then where did he get his color? Did he get his mauve color along the road to Little Rock, Arkansas?
Here's what I think happened is that so Texarkana is a place where there's a lot of rest stops and pit stops that happen in Texarkana. And what I think probably happened is there was a guy who had a paint truck who was driving to or from somewhere along that pipeline, bucket of paint, falls off the truck, splatters Robert, colored mauve.
And that influences him to get out of this tiny town and go to the big city of Little Rock.
Right, because here's the thing. Texarkana, that place is like the beginning of the Wizard of Oz.
What is the goal that Robert hopes to achieve when he arrives in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Well, he's gonna really stand out, you know? He wants to be the guy. He wants to be the leopard that Little Rock looks at and goes, now there's a leopard we can get on board with.
He's a quick one.
He's quick. He's quick. He's colorful. All right? There's not a lot of those types around here.
So he wants to be so quick that people stop making fun of him for being mauve.
Yes.
Mauve?
Mauve.
Mauve?
Mauve?
Mauve? Purple.
Let's say purple.
Robert, the extra large purple leopard, goes quickly to...
Oh, I forgot he's extra large, too. That's tough. I mean, you're noticeable. If you're purple and you're extra large...
Yeah.
You have to move quickly.
Well, do you I mean, what if he's extra large because he's fat?
Either way.
So
I mean, listen, fat guys can run.
They are. What if he's the quickest extra large leopard?
I mean, then that's just fun for him.
Right.
You know? One of my most favorite sports moments of all time is getting to watch a fat guy touchdown. And I feel like this is Robert's entire life, is just trying to lead to like the leopard version of a fat guy touchdown.
So the subtitle is a fat guy touchdown story.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I'm writing
in famous football town, Little Rock, Arkansas.
So I think we got all the pieces there.
Uh-huh.
But do we bother even having to tell the story? Do we have to tell the story? We told the outline of the story.
I mean, this is your segment.
It really is. It was such a good idea yesterday. This is like when I wake up in the middle of the night with a joke premise. I'm like, I can't wait to tell that on stage tonight.
Uh-huh.
And then I get on stage and I'm like, aliens on TikTok, you guys. And then everybody's like, we don't have TikTok. I'm like, okay. I think I could cut something together there.
Okay.
It was a good try.
That's a good
Just going to go back to interview style. I think we've done over an hour. I don't have the counter in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that was over an hour.
Yeah, we're probably about 72 minutes.
Oh, Jesus. 72. Okay. I should have clocked what time we started.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, Jay, thanks for coming.
Isaac, thanks for having me on.
This was a lot of fun.
This is super fun.
Yeah, that TV just turned off, so it must be right over an hour. Please come back.
I would love to come back.
Yeah. Come back whenever you want. I'm looking for a co-host.
I would love to come back and play more weird literary half-baked games with you.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll have them all fleshed out, as they say.
You know what I should do next time is I should bring some games for you to play.
That would be great. I wanted to have a podcast where the guest hosts.
That's fun.
But I don't know how to sell that. Like, hey, just come on my show and ask me a bunch of questions about me. Like, It's not very interesting.
Well, that's the beauty of a repeat guest.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's right. I'd like to get like 10 guests, and then that's it. And then never have to find new people ever.
And then just cycle back through.
Yeah.
Over and
12
over again.
would be ideal, because then every 3 months you get somebody on 4 times a year.
Proper dozen.
That's right.
It's good.
Yeah. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
You can find me at Diet J on social media. You can find the game show at Wrong Game Show, wherever you're social media-ing also. And please check out the special, My Wife Hates These Jokes, available on YouTube.
Does your wife actually hate the jokes?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The set was, the title of the set was inspired. I was running it before her, or I was running it with her the night before I recorded. And there's some stuff, particularly at the end, that is very dirty. And she hates when I do really dirty jokes. Mm-hmm. And she says as much when we're going over it. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just say that you hate these jokes when I'm doing it. And then I wound up doing it. It kind of became a runner callback sort of joke. And then I told her about how that happened after I recorded. And she was like, oh, maybe you call the special that. And I was like, well, actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so the wife hates the jokes.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
That's how we got to Little Rock, Arkansas.
And that's how we got to Little Rock. Great place to perform, by the way, if you're ever up there.
Have I been there? I have not been to Little Rock to perform.
It's fun. Fun spot.
There's somewhere else in Arkansas that has like a big rocket factory or whatever.
I mean, there's Bentonville. That's where Walmart is.
Yes.
Honestly, they're probably building rockets at Bentonville, at Walmart. Walmart HQ.
Yeah, Bentonville was an interesting. I'll tell you about that off air. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please check out Jay's special on the Roast Battle YouTube channel, which is right here. It's a link. It's a click of a link.
Right there.
Point somewhere.
Somewhere.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.